So please welcome Reverend Aikya.
Thank you very much, Kathy. So, my new job, so to speak, in the world, my position, is that I'm the newest staff member at Agape Bay Area in Piedmont, California, under Reverend Dr. Joan Stedman, whose birthday we're going to celebrate like crazy this afternoon. So that's the last little bit. And I think there's probably something written about me in the newsletter telling you more than you really need to know, but it's there. So I am so grateful to be here. Everybody can hear me? Please wave wildly if you cannot. Okay, good. So the subject I'm going to talk about was inspired originally by the conflict in the Ukraine. And a CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living minister, who can't always call herself a minister, Dr. Barbara Legere, has been working in the Ukraine since 2001, and so she always has something to tell us about it. I think probably not long after she started working there, I met her and some of the equivalent of prayer chaplains that you have here that she trained in the Ukraine, and they are now her lieutenants over there helping the people of Ukraine in this very difficult situation that they have with the invasion. Anyway, somebody asked Dr. Legere, "Do you know how to end war?" And she said, "Yes. Begin peace." And they looked really puzzled. And that's when she realized we don't know what peace is. We have no idea. How are we going to have it if we don't even know what it is? So she's off on her creative adventure. She's going to have an international institute for the study of peace so we can find out more about it. And we're just going to look into this a little bit. You have a song that you sing, I think, every week. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with who? Me. Whoa. Me? Oh, that's too big. Me in charge of the peace of the world? Well, let's bring it a little closer to home. Let's talk about peace here. Peace as me. Inner peace. Mental peace. That kind of peace. We can all deal with that. I think when I was in some sort of recovery or other, somebody taught me that you can't control anyone else except yourself. So all of those political leaders whose minds we'd like to change, well, we can't really change them. We can only change ourselves. So as it happens today in Christian churches, they celebrate the time when God came in a special form and just enlivened every single one of the apostles and the disciples and their friends, everybody who was gathered together in one place, indoors. They say it was 115 people. That was a crowd. This is the feast today of Pentecost. Maybe some of you, if you had learned Christian stories long ago, you have heard about it. So I'm bringing it up to you because, sometimes we don't feel very confident. We're not really sure how to go from here to there. And that was exactly how all those apostles and disciples were. They were really confused. Jesus had gone to heaven, or at least we don't know what that really means, but he wasn't there with them. They loved him so much and he wasn't there. He guided them so much, but he wasn't there to guide them. But he promised them he would send a comforter. So there they were all together, kind of trying to figure out what to do. Inside, 115 people apparently, and suddenly inside they heard a mighty wind. Inside? Woo! And then it seemed that the Spirit came upon them in a special way. Now, how they tell the story is it came as a flame, a light. What did you just sing about? I am light. Okay. Came upon them as a light. And they were filled with courage. They were ready to do whatever was needed. Suddenly, they began to talk with confidence to one another. They went outside. They got outside of the building. They started talking to the people. And you know what? Every person heard them speak in their own language. That's what it says in the story. Wow. So this is the Feast of Pentecost. This is the time when we can open our hearts and receive that flame. Know that I am light. And know, as I said in the beginning, I think, God is all there is. Each of us is an expression of God. We used to say the child of God. Some people had a hard time figuring that out. So now they say the expression of God. When people look at you, you're the way they see God today, now. When you're kind, when you do things to make the sanctuary beautiful, bringing the flowers, when people see you, you're the way they see God. That is true for every single person in the world, no matter their race, ethnicity, ancestry, nationality. You're the face of God. You're a portal to God. I think that's a Michael Bernard Beckwith expression, portal of God. I kind of like it. I picked it up. I hope I'm properly crediting him. So it's so perfect that your theme is affirming faith in who we are. It's so important for us to know who we are and to take charge of a few things for ourselves. Physical safety, emotional well-being, and the opportunity to thrive. These three things we have the responsibility for ourselves. We have to pay attention to whether we're safe, whether that food we're eating has got some weird thing in it and we shouldn't be eating it. We have to watch out for our physical safety. Don't go doing strange athletic things you're not quite ready for. Your physical safety, but the physical safety of others is also something we need to look out for and to ensure to the best of our ability. Now, emotional well-being, this is a great one. So our emotional well-being is something we definitely have to take responsibility for. And how do we do that? So we pay attention to what's going on in our minds. Reverend Joan, whose birthday we're going to celebrate, when she won the Walden Award, she said that she thought attention was very important, that we needed to pay attention to attention. We needed to pay attention to the consciousness that is shining on our thoughts. We needed to pay attention to what our thoughts are. We needed to pay attention to our feelings, and not only pay attention, but express them in ways that don't put anybody else in physical danger, ourselves included. We need to speak what our feelings are. We need, what else? So here you are with another portal of God who is jabbering away, who is very aggravated about something, and what do? Listen. we also get to listen to others when they express their feelings. And do we have to do anything about it? Just because she's so aggravated, I don't have to get aggravated. I don't have to do anything because she's aggravated, but I can listen because she is a portal for God. And there's something about whatever she needs to share with me needs to come out of her, and I can just kindly listen, right? Okay. So we take time as we're running around. Everybody is so busy, honest to goodness. We take time now and then just to be present. We just stop. You can stop and watch your own thoughts and feelings float by like the weather in your mind. But we stop to be present. We stop to connect with Spirit. We stop to remember who we are and whose we are. We listen to others, we express our feelings, and if we need something, we ask. And we're not always going to get it, but we ask. So expressing feelings, asking for what you want and need, these are all ways to shore up that emotional well-being. So then, okay, that's lovely, but we don't live alone. We're not completely independent. There are people who are in charge. There are responsible individuals who are running towns and police departments and schools and whatever else. And so part of our honoring ourselves as spiritual beings, part of that is paying attention to what all those leaders are doing. You know, it used to be that you didn't talk about this kind of thing in church, but I'm finding that our spiritual duties and our civic duties are kind of merging. Because if we want the values that we have, love and kindness and compassion, care for others, to be what happens in the world, we have to pay attention to who's making the decisions. Then right now we're in a good moment for that. I know I have a pile of election materials to read when I get home finally, and see who's running, who's in office, and to choose who do I think is going to pay attention to physical safety, emotional well-being, and the opportunity to thrive. Opportunity to thrive. I didn't talk about that so much. So that comes in, see, we have Kathy here. People have to have a basic education, not a master's degree, but they say we need to have, in order to survive, education up to a 6th grade level. The ability to read, to understand, to write, and to use numbers up to a 6th grade level in order to thrive, in order to work and earn a living and do all the things we have to do in this modern fancy society we have. So education up to that level, and of course more if you can do that, is very important. Those who give that education are giving a spiritual blessing. And it isn't now anymore that only children are learning up to a 6th grade level, but we have people in our country now who didn't learn our alphabet. They learned a different alphabet. We have people who speak another language other than English that's written in another alphabet. So those people also, though they may be adults, even elders, go and take reading, help with reading, and numeracy it's called, working with numbers, so that they can thrive also. So this is something we pay attention to for ourselves, and we also pay attention to whether the government is supporting the oops, that was my prop, sorry. whether the, oh, thank you. Now I have to tell you why I brought it up here. I think it wanted me to, it wanted me to tell you something. So, yeah. So I wanted to talk to you also about oneness, you know? It's hard to have a lack of peace if you truly understand oneness. What the heck is it? We know about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we talk about oneness all the time. So oneness, wow. So the reason I brought the orange is when we look out at the world, we see forms, right? This is a thing that has a form. People's bodies have a form. We can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many are there? We can count how many because it has a form. Forms, like the orange, come into existence. Once upon a time, there was an orange blossom. It became this orange. When I take it home and peel off the skin and eat it, that'll be the end of this form, the form of the orange. Likewise, our bodies have a beginning and an end. So what's with the oneness? We can count the forms. What is looking out? Who are you anyway? Who am I? I know I'm not an object like this orange, right? So now when I think of this form that's called Aikya, there are parts of it that are objects. So I can't be them. My body is an object that I know. I can tell you when my knees hurt. I can tell the doctor if I have a fever. I know what's going on with this body. The body is an object of my knowledge, so that's obviously not me. Whoa. Now we're getting into some stuff. What about my mind? Oh dear. Didn't I just tell you to watch your thoughts? Watch your feelings? Oh my. Those are floating by in this thing we call our mind. I know what's going on in there. It's an object of my knowledge, so I can't be my mind either. Oh dear, now what? You step back a little bit. What is watching those thoughts? Isn't there an awareness, a consciousness, you might say, that's watching those thoughts? That consciousness, that awareful consciousness, it exists, right? When you say I, that's what you're talking about, that consciousness, that awareness. Wow. Does it have a form? The thoughts have forms. It doesn't have a form. Oh, it follows a different set of rules than my orange here. It didn't need to come into existence. There's only one. The consciousness that looks out of Marilyn's eyes, that looks out of Nancy's eyes, that looks out of Randall's eyes. It's the same consciousness out of Betty's eyes. It's the same consciousness. There's only one. And since it didn't need to be born, it's the same consciousness that looked out of the eyes of Adam and Eve, of Jesus. It's the same consciousness that looks out of the eyes and mind of every living conscious being. Our little pets at home, the birds twittering in the trees now, the same consciousness. If it's the same consciousness, and when we stop and take a minute, oh, I forgot the biggest one. There's only one consciousness means God. It's God's consciousness too. It's God's awareness. That's why when I look at you, you're a portal for God. Because that's one conscious awareness, looking out of every person's eyes. And that conscious awareness is the same as the consciousness of God, the Creator, or Spirit, if you wish. That's why I brought the orange. It's an important prop, you know? So we have this wonderful opportunity to bless and be blessed, to know that the awareness that looks at your thoughts and my thoughts is looking at the thoughts and experiences of every living being, is the very consciousness of God. It never was born, it never will end. It is oneness. It is the oneness. It is the eternity that we speak of. In the Bible, which I have gotten fond of lately, every now and then, St. Paul wrote a letter. You know, he was a great letter writer, a great walker all over Asia Minor, and wrote letters to all the people that he visited. So the Philippians, he wrote to the Philippians, do not be anxious about anything. Wow, we all need that message. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with gratitude, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, not just the end of fighting, not even just a moment of quiet, but the peace of God, the peace that God is, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And so now I'm going to wave at Betty, because I wanted us to say a prayer together by one of our founders. The other founder, I believe, lived right here in this building. And one of the things she did to forward the idea of peace is she started a worldwide kind of a pen pal letter writing thing going on, encouraging everyone to pray for peace. That was Harriet Ricks, and Harriet Hale Ricks, I got it, okay. Anyway, so this is by her sister, who did a lot of traveling around and sharing the ideas that brought forth the Home of Truth. It's her morning prayer, and it's in one of the books you have in the library, I believe. So let's say it together. God is health, life, love, truth, substance, and intelligence. God is omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience. I am the thought of God, the idea of the divine mind. In God, I live, move, and have my being. God works through me to do whatever ought to be done by me. I am happy. I am holy. I am loving. I am wise. Positive health is my natural state. Prosperity is our natural state of abundant good. The only place is here, and the only time is now. Through right use of our free will, we the highest good of all. And so it is.